Welcome back to another episode of the randInt podcast with Raffy and Chandra. Hooray!
Yay!
Now, firstly, an apology because I believe, as Jen, who helps us produce the podcast, has been pointing out, we were talking about how, on time and timely all the episodes were going, and then someone, not naming anyone, cough Chandra, adopted pirate life, and there was so much on sea piracy that decided to cancel like 5 freaking episodes in a row. So,
Whoops.
dear listeners, if you have anywhere to direct the anger, it's not towards me. There we go.
I
Laughing
would
track.
recommend directing it towards the weather.
Yeah.
Hey, weather.
Oh, damn you. Not even inanimate object, but atmospheric physics principles.
The weather gods have not been kind. But finally, I'm on shore, back in Australia.
And with
so
worse internet.
That also means, I was going to say, so if my internet drops out, we know why.
Oh man, why can't
Also,
you
on
just use
another note,
Starlink
this is
on
the
that?
first time. This is the first time that we haven't had microphone problems when we first joined the call.
That's true. I was actually just about to say,
Did
is
you get it
audio
back?
okay? No, I got like this news. Where is it? There, this little microphone. It's actually
So if
really
in doubt, buy something
like
new. That'll
compact.
fix it.
Yeah. Buy new. Yeah, it was my birthday present to myself actually.
As you do.
Well, actually, no. So the reason I bought this was my YouTube channel got monetized, and it was the first paycheck which I donated for charity sort of stuff. And then I was like, oh, the next one it's going towards this. So that was my little monetization present, and it just happened to be my birthday. So that was 2 in 1. Alrighty. So since it's been a while, we thought instead of doing a topic, we would do a catch-up episode. So let's begin with how are you, Chandra? How are you?
Well, it's it's a bit different now. Back in Australia, back on land for the next 4.5 months. Not that I've got a countdown timer on the front of my phone which says 129 days. Definitely wouldn't do that because that'd just be silly. But yes, so I'm going to be back around in Australia for a bit. Mostly going to be over in Western Australia like usual. But right now I'm actually in Albany, here for a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
And staying at one of my friend's houses, and his house is up on a hill, and it is amazing. You get a beautiful view sort of over the valley into a river. So I'm like,
dear listeners, if
still got a nice
you're
view.
watching this, if you're watching this on Spotify video or whatever, just look at Chandra's reflection on his glasses, and you can see like it's just like blue.
There we go. Hopefully you can see with that.
Yeah, we could turn things around, but it looks like
blur.
giant window panes and a gorgeous view.
So I was
not bad.
I was a bit sad about leaving the boat and be like, but all the views are gone. I'm like, I'll survive for a bit. So
what's it like?
There's been a little bit of adjustment. There's like an adjustment period between waking up and not going to work in the mornings, and then waking up and going to work in the morning. That is a difference.
For the first time, I think we're actually synced on that more accurately than any other time, because so I think you've been back for what, like 2 weeks ish?
A week now. Yep. I've been back at work for a week, but yeah.
So from my side, I've been on went on sabbatical, and then basically I've been taking long service leave. And this little 2-week period, there's like a conference on, and our roster at Public was really tight. So I said, you know what, I'm not doing anything, so I'll cover. So this has been like the first 2 to 3 week period where I've been back on my old roster, like normal Public and private and stuff. And I'm like, holy moly, it's so bad. Like I've literally been coming home and face planting. Like 2 nights ago, 2 nights ago, I came home from work and my wife's away. So like my normal safety balances of like, someone telling me that you're being weird was out the window. So I was like, I came home and I was like, okay, I'm going to take a 5-minute breather. I'm just going to watch some YouTube videos. My feet were like dangling off the bed, right? And then I woke up an hour later and my legs were really sore because I'd fallen asleep. And then
that's happened like, a couple of times.
This is why I feel exhausted normally all the time. Yeah, so When I go back properly in August, it'll be with reduced hours permanently now. So I'm really looking forward to that because I'm like, oh yeah, this was just exhausting. That's why it's so tiring. So I'm in that adjustment period as well.
Unfortunately for me, it's basically now I get both jobs to do. So I've got the clinical job, and then I've also got the startup job. So that gets crammed in before and after. So the work hours from before, though I guess technically, there's been less requirement to like fix the plumbing or do other boat work. So that's a thing. That's a little bit less work, I guess.
Yes, yes, that weather. Oh no, like freaking cancel all the podcasts.
Whoops. It was a bit of a rush at the
Uh,
last minute and managed to finally get up to the Chesapeake Bay. That was actually quite interesting there on the east coast of the US because I was a bit worried. It was like, oh, is it going to be like all Trump hats and whatnot? But no, like the little tiny country town's great. People are super friendly. Like there's a lot of American flags on the front lawn, but apart from that, like very nice, very friendly people invite you over for drinks anytime,
y-
and yeah, just really nice.
the reason they don't actually wear the Trump hats is because they're like, well, everyone's wearing a Trump hat, so there's no point anymore, right? So on that note,
It
so since our last
kind of just
episode, I
reminded me
don't
of
think.
country, country Australia, like just like normal rural town.
Yeah, so recently my brother got married in Philadelphia, and so we went from New York, so very much not very Trump friendly, to Philadelphia, and no one wore Trump hats. But then you look around at the murals, and there's like Jesus hugging Trump, shielding him from a bullet, and
Oh,
stuff on just yeah. So yeah, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
oh, these are like the towns where the population is about 500 people. These are not
Those are the
cities.
hard Republican towns, you realize.
That's what I expected as well. But no, super friendly people,
Oh no,
and
no, like
half
don't get me
half.
wrong.
And I think there might be a little bit of a bias because often like the boat people hang out and near the waterside, so maybe there's a bit more. I don't know, but yeah, they don't. They it was just not as what I expected, which was nice.
The thing is like even Philadelphia, which is like swung I think towards Trump. The I think this is the interesting thing is like if you look at it, it's like people just assume the people who support Trump are like anti everything, right? They're actually really friendly. Like it's a like politics doesn't interfere in everyday life, so
These
it's not
people
to
were not
say
super
that.
happy about Trump being there as well.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it
but
was
in
like
Philly, there's a
50-50,
lot
but
of
they were kind of somewhat. It was like a occasionally when it would come up, it'd just be a very, oh, look, I like this, but happy for everyone to have their own opinion kind of thing.
yeah, and
But it was like half half there.
that's what I found is like literally the Airbnb I had, the one next to it was very pro Trump, but they were just like friendly. Like it's interesting that it's less of an issue over there than we think it is from over here. Like,
Yeah, that was kind of interesting to see.
yeah. Um, Alrighty. So apart from being back on land, any other major updates for you? I've got a few from
Well,
my
I've
end, but yeah.
yeah, no, mostly just adapting back to like land lifing things. uh,
What does that mean? Actually, I recently read something about like if you've been on the sea for a long time, weeks to months to years, supposedly you get sea legs where being on land feels weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah, oh, it only
is
takes
that a
like a
thing?
couple of weeks. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Especially if you've been somewhere like a bit rolly for the last week or two, and then you get
Yeah.
off the boat and you go on land, you're like, whoa, why is this island moving? It should stay still. So it
Right. So
definitely
are
lasts for
you?
like a day or so. It usually
Yeah.
lasts for maybe a day, but it tends to happen if you've been somewhere quite rocky and rolly on the boat, and then you come somewhere on land. But about the week before I got back on land, I was at this little town, and they had like a little lake kind of thing that you could pull up into, and it was just like flat as it was like just being on land the whole time. So got off not so much land legs, but it has happened many times before.
Oh, because I was reading this article on someone who's been on like a cruise ship, basically living on a cruise ship for like 10 years, and for whatever reason had to come off. And they and supposedly I can't remember what it's got like an eponymous medical name. Sometimes it can last for years. like
Oh
the
wow.
sensation that land is rocking. And I was like, oh, I've got to ask you next time we chat. And yeah, oh, there you go, dear listeners. It is a thing: land legs versus sea
It
legs.
definitely is
And
a thing.
our in-house pirate seems to be on that trend.
Can
Oh,
confirm.
on the because what are we, minute number what, 9 or something? Yeah, sorry, 10. I had to bring up AI at some point.
But of course, don't worry, I've got more AI to bring up. But what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, actually, so that's been something that I've realized I'm doing more and more. We're just before we started recording talking about a few other startup-y related things, and there's been this rise in what's called vibe coding. So basically, if you have an idea, you get AI to generate the code, and Chandra was just saying, it's like, oh yeah, it's messy code. You wouldn't release it to the public, and we'll hear his stuff. And I was like, oh, actually, the thing that I've been doing is like last night, I was driving home from my parents' place, and I had like these few ideas bouncing around, and I was like, normally, you just ponder it and you go for a long drive, coming back from whatever. But lately, what I've been doing is I'll turn on ChatGPT and then go, hey, I've just got these ideas, right? And I just brainstorm together, and you go, well, why, right? A, I have a record of it, of the things that I talked about. And B, at the end of it, you can go, can you just summarize what we talked about in the most efficient way possible, right? And so if you had this, like, so I got back home and I had a rough idea of what to do next. And the reason I bring this up is because I was like, oh, I've kind of played around with vibe coding, but I haven't quite done it like with anything super, super advanced. Uh, and I had this very tiny project in mind, and I was like, it's like, well, this would be the project, this is the source. How would I go about doing that? And then in one of the other ChatGPT windows is like a list of steps to actually do, and I was like, wow, that's actually like, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because I just feel like now hustle culture has gone into stuck in traffic hustle because now I can come up with things to do.
You could sit there and listen to some music and just relax and turn your brain off so you don't come home and face blunt. Or you could think of what the other startup you're going to start is.
Yeah,
Because
so I was like,
hashtag
oh no,
efficiency.
oh no, this is not good.
That said,
Uh,
I was doing exactly that yesterday with a new feature I was just thinking about.
so, dear listeners, please do not take life advice from us. This is probably
Yeah,
not
no, poor
how you
life
end up
choices.
with like
Don't do that.
life choices. Actually, on another weird note that I never expected. So, like, as I said, my YouTube channel got monetized recently, and I
Yay.
kind of have to do stuff for Samsung, etc. Right? What I did not expect is like there's like 2,000 subscribers, maybe 3,000. Like, it's not big, right? Like, it's tiny. Um, but now brands have started reaching out already, and I initially thought it was a
Mm.
scam because it's not a brand I've heard of. It's like
Please send us some shipping fees so we can send you our very definitely real product. Mm.
yeah, so like that's what I kind of thought, right? So then I was like, oh look, I've got some friends who work at Samsung and for marketing companies otherwise, and I was like, hey, does this seem like a legit email? Because the usual things of spelling errors and this that and addresses, they all checked out. So I was like,
Mhm.
interesting, and they're like, no, that is kind of almost the template we'd use to send you if we wanted stuff from you too. And I was like, really? So then I responded, and the thing is, they like because I was like, oh look, it seems like an interesting product. Look, I'm only small. I'm not sure what you want. And they were like, oh, we've watched all your YouTube videos and we like this and this and this and this. And I was like, hang on, those are actual legitimate points from the last few and some from historically ages ago. Like it's not just summarize the last 10 videos kind of thing. And I was like,
Mm.
is this actually legit? And so then, a few back and forths, and they actually have like an offer on the table. And I was like,
Mm.
have I accidentally become like influencer?
I think you
uh,
are techfluencer.
yeah. So
I feel
if
like
true,
it's like the
yeah.
ultimate. I feel like it's the ultimate curry thing as well. It's like I could just work a bit and buy it, but somebody gives this to me for free.
Free.
That
Yeah.
is worth 10 times more.
Yeah, so
It's like
you have
free food,
captured
just so much
my
more tasty.
well, well, yes, and which brings us to a nice segue to the thing that you're going to be calling this episode, which is free food.
Yeah.
Why is that, Chandra? What
So,
have you
okay,
discovered that is not thousands of years old?
this is definitely new. Like, there's a spreadsheet, so they kind of had a spreadsheet back then. But so I'm running. There's with the boat. Like, I like to go off grid for a while, and like one of the annoying things is
We've
grocery shopping.
noticed.
Yes. Well, Starlink follows, but one of the problems is fresh green things don't often last that long. Like you can get surprisingly, 2 or 3 weeks out of a cucumber. A lettuce leaf is gone in like a few days, or maybe a week tops. But if you haven't been to a grocery store for like a month, then green things are very, very, you're
Where's
like,
Whole
I would
Foods
kill.
flotation?
You're like, I would kill for a lettuce leaf. And then also in Rando Islands, like your one lettuce leaf might be like $20 because it's come from Mexico, imported to California, flown over to Miami, then shipped out to some island. So by the
This,
time
dear
it's got
listeners,
to you,
is
it's
how
already about
piracy
3 weeks old.
starts.
Yeah,
This is how piracy starts. I want my lettuce leaf.
yeah, pretty much. So then I discovered, right? So then I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have like, a garden on the boat. And then
Brand
I
new
was like, oh, okay, that's
technology.
annoying. Yeah, I was like, what if I could make my own food on the boat?
Oh
And it
no!
turns out there's these things called seeds, right?
What could we call
And
this? Agriculture? What is that?
no,
That's
that's a
like a
silly
weird
name.
word.
That's a weird word. I'm going to call it free food technique.
Very, very
And
brown, appealing to the target market.
totally. And the constraints for me was, okay, well, I need to be able to buy this stuff and last for a year. And I needed to not need like potting mix or soil and things like that because I'm gonna just carry soil around that'll just go off. And most of the islands are just like sand, so there's no soil to steal from the islands. And also, I was ideally like, some because I was looking into the hydroponic setups because they have like water. However, they require a bit of electricity. It's
Oh
a bit of
man, I
a
can't
whole
wait.
thing.
I can't wait until some Coast Guard pulls you over.
Yeah. So I've narrowed it
I'm just
down.
growing herbs. They're
They're
actually
just herbs. So I have
Oh,
just harvested my first crop. So I was like, oh well, since I'm here, let me
oh
do
my
some
God, it even
experiments.
sounds dodgy.
Let me do my first experiments here on land and learn. And since I'm at my friend's house, nothing sus. But yeah, so it turns out, there's two things: there's seed sprouting and there's microgreens. So seed sprouting, all it needs is water and seeds, and you get like salad in 3 to 7 days, depending on the kind, which is kind of cool because then I was like, oh, well, if I just plant a batch every 2 days, you literally have like unlimited salad that way. And there's these other microgreen growing trays, which you can have all these different ones, like broccoli and radish and all these things. And again, they grow in like maybe 5 to 14 days, depending on what they are. And all it needs is water. So I was like, this is amazing. Like, why do
What?
Maoran people not do this growing free food business? Like, you don't need to go to a grocery store. You just got like fresh green things sitting there on the kitchen table, ready to go at any time. So of course I
See,
asked
I think
AI
this is.
about making a spreadsheet for this so that I can have, how much salad does somebody eat per day? And let's say for 2 or 3 people, like how much salad do you actually need? And if you want like a fresh salad every 2 days, how would you plan it to have a variety as well? It's great. It turns out it's very doable.
So there
Turns
you
out
go.
2 or 3 kilos of seeds only costs maybe like $100 or $200 or something like that. But that should be enough for an entire year's worth of like greenery.
So the natural competitor to Whole Foods, free foods done by seeds,
Yeah,
brand new
free
technology.
foods. If anybody hasn't heard this new technology, I would highly recommend it. Google
Oh,
microgreens and seed sprouting. Amazing.
And of course, you need to do it through AI because how, like, I mean, it's new, all right? Like,
Yeah, there
it
needs to
doesn't
be a
have
spreadsheet.
AI.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, if it's not green AI, what are you, planet killing? You know?
Exactly. So that has
The
been
other business I did.
my new deep dive into learning something because I definitely clearly needed to learn something.
I would like to point out that last time he came to the apartment, I pointed out my little mini greenhouse of herbs, like, parsley. And he was like, "What is that?" And then he clearly has completely forgotten about it
Yep.
until now. And he's
Yeah,
like,
but
"Hey,
did
you
you
should do it." I'm
know?
like, "I showed you." Like,
But did you know you
genuinely
can
before he
harvest
started.
it? You can have a whole salad every day. It's amazing, and it's
So
free ish.
that was Chandra's random fact. My one was actually more just like a. I really like number visualization exercises. Now, what do I mean by that is like, there's like, I feel like the human brain kind of goes through like, hey, you have a small number, a medium number, large number, and then kind of squazillions, right? Like whatever that means.
Hmm.
Like it just gets to so big that
Just large.
it's just large. It's like close to infinite, right? And there was two things that I might have mentioned one of them before. So um, there was this meme that I saw, and I kind of like calculated out the numbers, and it kind of worked out. And it was if you were alive at the time where the Great Pyramids were built, and you got $10,000 a day, and like this is ignore uh,
Hmm.
inflation and all that stuff, right? And up until today, right? You got $10,000 every single day since then, like whatever that is, 3000 BC. You would still have you would have half the money that Elon Musk does, which kind of blew my mind, right?
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. And the other one, which again, concept
That
of
said, depending on what he tweets, that might go up or down.
yeah.
That timeline might stretch
Well,
down or up.
this is true. I mean, you would have also got a few centuries worth of tweets yourself if you've actually been alive that long.
This is true. Fair point.
Uh, uh, the other one was the difference between a million seconds and a billion seconds is a
Hmm.
million seconds is 11 days, 13 hours, and 46 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. So 11 days, like about a fortnight. Let's just call it that, right?
Okay.
Versus a billion seconds is 31 years and 8 months,
Huh. That's a
right?
lot
Like, but
longer. You're like, it's just 1,000 times more. Nope.
yeah.
Oh,
But like,
interesting.
so it's like the reason like those two things like blow my mind is kind of like because someone pointed this out. So in Victoria, there's like the elections have happened federally, blah blah blah, but the state government and whatnot, and during elections, like politicians will come up, it's like, oh, it's like we're giving this much funding to this thing, right? And one of the things that's come out is that Melbourne is finally going to have a rail link. It's like connects from the airport through to the rest of the train network instead of having to rely on buses. And in order to do that, they have to upgrade the station so that it can electrify the rest of that network. So it's called Sunshine Station. And so you just go like, it's a train station, right? Like in some rail lines and whatnot. But they've allocated $3 billion to it,
Huh.
right? And it turns out it's a major hub and da da da. And I just remember reading a comment which is like, hang on, $3 billion for Sunshine Station. The Oculus in New York, if you cost adjust it for Australian dollars, cost one point something billion. And I was
What was
like,
that?
the World Trade Center station
Oh,
it looks
okay.
really cool. It's like really
Okay.
architecturally designed. And someone
Cool.
was like, so for 3 billion, are we getting anything that looks remotely like it? Like, how is this costing 3 billion, right? And it's like and I was like, I read that comment, and I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, and around the same time, this quote, like, I'd seen this number of million versus billion seconds before, and I'm like, that is a lot of money, right?
Huh.
But after, I don't know, like what, 10, 20, like pick a number, like 200 million, like in my
Yeah.
brain, it goes from like 200 million, big number, to 2 billion, bigger number. Like they're kind of the same to me,
Just
right?
big
Like, and then,
numbers.
but yeah, right? But then you
Comparison
see
is a good
something
way of
like,
doing it. You're like, wait, for 3 billion, what other rail stations can we buy?
yeah. But then if you think about it in terms of the seconds to years thing, right? Like, it's a
Uh,
fortnight versus like 31 years. Like, holy shit, that's a lot of money, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like I feel like we lose sense of these huge, and like, Bezos and Musk and stuff, they're in the hundreds of billions. Or Warren Buffett, for example, right? You just go
Mm.
like, that's $1 a day for
A
31
long, long,
years.
long
For
time.
1 billion, right?
Yeah.
They're at like a few hundred billion. So that's basically like whatever
Many
that
of.
is. Yeah. Right? Like, isn't that yeah, I don't know. I just find that ridiculous. So it's not
Mm.
$1 a day, it's $1 a second, I should say.
Yeah, true.
$1 a second, not a day. Because like, that wouldn't make sense with the Egypt analogy. So yeah, that's my random fact. Just putting a scale for big numbers.
And there we
It's
go.
Yeah. So if you found any of these kind of sort of visualization or mental exercises to conceptualize big numbers or interesting facts, do let us know, because I find them fascinating just to just work through. Because yeah, it's like, after a certain point, I just don't think the brain comprehends it, and this kind of puts it into perspective. Yeah. With that,
And on the flip
anything
side,
further for this?
if you know any
Yeah.
efficient ways of getting free food without without soil and lots of food in a small space, also keen to hear.
that's that's legal free
Yes,
food. Let's just
definitely. Yeah, we're not looking to trade.
like, whilst he may be living the pirate life, he's living the legal pirate life.
Yeah, I still
That's
do
it,
get boarded
legal.
by customs once in a while.
He actually?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
In the
wow, okay.
Bahamas, I got boarded once, and but I think they were mostly there for a photo op because I was in the shower and blue like these flashing blue lights turned up next to the boat, and I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? Anyway, come out in my bath towel, and there's this like a police boat there. They're like, hi. I'm like, you want me to put pants on, or what are we doing here? Anyway, they came on board and they were like, oh yeah, we just need to like check your documents. I was like, okay, yeah, this is one of these things. So I opened up my laptop and showed them all the documents, showed them like as many things. There's a bunch of like, younger dudes who clearly had no idea what they were looking for. And they were like, oh, can we take a photo? And they were like very excited about taking a photo of me in my bath towel with the laptop, showing them boat documents. And most of the boat documents were just like random documents. You're like, look, Australian registration.
Oh right. So I was like, what's like,
So I
is
think
your
they had to
boat
like
that
show
unique?
that. No, I think they just had to show that they were doing some work, so they had to like take photos of them doing work.
The work.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
I
think they
see.
knew actually what they were looking at, but I think they just had to be seen to be doing work. So there was a lot of photo taking.
Yeah. What? Bahamas Instagram. Look, doing work. Guys in a
Yeah,
bath towel. We got him good.
damn straight.
See, he even has herbs.
Special herbs.
Oh, well, with that, that's it for this episode. Anything further to add apart from your bath towel story?
No, not for now.
That was totally outside the script. This is a rarity, dear listener. If it's
This is
not kind
true.
of in the rough template, Chandra usually can't come up with something in time.
Off topic.
Wow, this is a true, like, randInt is infecting the soul.
Is this true?
With that, do leave us a like and subscribe wherever you're seeing this. And if you have any comments or queries, do leave it in the show, into the Spotify comments section, or reach out. I think their email is still like podcast@photosbyraffy.com, which we'll have to change over at some point. But yeah, leave us a message, and leave us a message so we can actually play it back. We do love getting that and any sort of feedback, and we will catch you in the next episode. And hopefully it'll be regular now that he's on hand.
Definitely.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.